Welcome, Facebook audience and YouTube. Tonight, the blessing. I'm going to be the host, Donna Herring. I'm going to be bringing from struggles to purpose. You know, sometimes when we go through hard things, you get tired of being in that same place. You want to come out. You want to do better. You want to be successful the way God created you to be. Sometimes God have to let problems come for us to trust Him, walk with Him, talk with Him, give Him the work His works in us as we strive to come the way we know best to do till He bring it all the way over, cross over like He did Joshua. He crossed over as He did Moses. Let the people cross over. Moses didn't get to cross them over, but Joshua did. And so we got to keep pushing through things. May not be comfortable. You may sometimes have tears in your eyes. You may have water in your eyes. You may feel disappointed some days, but you don't have to let the disappointment keep you in that way because you're thinking or feeling that way. You have to keep digging like a person working in a yard, a person working at work to get to that pay day or period, or continuously working on a goal. You want to learn how to do a thing like, say, crochet or sew. You got to press to learn, and even in schools, to go through these things to get to the successful place over your struggles. Walking in the faith, you got to press through many different things. God is with you. He know how to keep you, standing, strengthening you, and everything He got to give you from Him to keep you going. So in the struggles of life, we all got a side of overcoming life, overcoming our struggles like Apostle Paul, which his name was Saul. He was dealing with persecuting churches, and God had to let some things happen on the road to Damascus to blind him, for him to talk and ask what must he do to come out of the situation he didn't like. God let an older man be there to tell him what he must do to come out to a new way. David had a lot of struggles, and he would always pray to God. He would run. He would be tired, but he kept on praying, kept on pressing, kept on calling on God and doing what he knew. And eventually, you know, he was the type always had problems, but God brought him through. And Job, how do you think Job felt in the Bible? How he was a faithful man in God, but the only thing why he went through that trying time or that test to show he was faithful. Nothing he did wrong. Sometimes you don't have to do wrong to go through problems. They come to us all. God already spoken it. And the same is for any of us. We ain't got to do wrong for things to come. Some things happen when people just do what they do. But we know God know it all before it's happening. That's where it lies. That's what's important. That's what matters. So tonight, I given Job, because a man was faithful, upright, went through things he wasn't comfortable with, sores on his body, broke out. His friends tried to tell him what they thought wasn't accurate. Only God knew why. And Job didn't have to do but ask God. He would talk to him. He would tell him. Even the same Saul was persecuting the church, and pretty much he know that God didn't like it because God put a curve on him. He put the blinders on him going down the road to Damascus, and he had to see what was wrong, what could he do. God made through things to bring things, problems, to get us to come more to Him, to come out of the old way, to come to the blessed way, come from the struggles to the purpose. He uses problems for purpose, for bless, to bring you in the manner way you should be in Him. So it's all interesting tonight what we will bring forth in the struggles to the purpose. And so Job, you will find his story in the book of Job. You will find the story of Apostle Paul or Saul in the book of Acts and other places you read about him in the Bible. You will find his life timeline of things he did and so on. And then when he crossed the path that God was tired of him persecuting the church, he put the blinders on and come and ask, what? How can I, what must I do to be right? God took care of that. He's Apostle Paul now. He transitioned him out. Even Job received greater more than what he lost in this test he had. God loves him. He brought him through. David many times had Saul wanted to kill David. He was ready. But when he played the harp, he brought the depression off of Saul. Saul would sting him up and wanted to hurt David so many times. And David was in fear of run. But God always brought him through as he prayed and sought him. That God can do that with you and have many matters. He know when to bring it to an end, but know you ready to walk and listen to him and be obedient like David. The same in Saul the Apostle Paul. And of course, Job was already obedient. These are a few people in the Bible in things of struggles, but God brought them through. And you'll find many other characters in there. Why God do these things to bring us to him, to know him, to save you, to bring you what he wants you to do. There's always a reason when he do something, but he has a purpose in it. So tonight, we'll discuss about the struggles to purpose. And I've had my own struggles myself, many times. Didn't know why, like David, didn't know why. So many, and didn't have to do nothing. Just didn't know life like I should have. And before my age, and now I was raised up well, but it was things I thought I knew. They never turned out right. Same like you would look at King Solomon. He did a lot of things when going through a bunch of women and concubines. He had everything he needed, but he still wasn't happy. So sometimes it takes our life experiences and lessons. We learn about our own self and others what it takes to come out, to be better, to be successful. And we have to keep working on it. And with God, in the relationship, to whatever way to come to that place. Because, as a matter of fact, God often give us something to know we can trust him. We're going to do what he say, or we got to do what we need to do to get to that place. So our discussion will be struggles to purpose. And I'm the host of the show, Donna Herring. I do this twice a month now to bring lessons to people from what things they go through, and sometimes they feel, what did they do? Why did they going through? Why did Jesus go through? He didn't do anything. He's innocent. He didn't do nothing to go through that. He did it for us to be alive and to give us a chance to the salvation plan, like the same as he giving us a chance to make it right. Where Adam and Eve failed in their shortcoming, listening to us, the devil, Satan, and the devil, which is the same, and the serpent deceived the woman, and she deceived the man. It brought these things upon mankind, go through sin, have problems, and so Jesus is the second Adam. So when I put the blessings to show what happens in the transition of a person that God, like I said, problems have to happen to people in order for them to get on the path of God, Christ. They want to come out of that way, don't want to stay in that way. It's not comfortable, but it will, when you keep pressing it, you'll be better when you overcome it and get to the right place you're supposed to get. It means a lot. So I'm going to be discussing that tonight as a host. Sometime it'll be on youth and children and parents. It'll be on community issues. And then people experiences can bring them in the place they're coming in. So we're gonna go into this, and I'm gonna bring this on the music just the time to matter. So after this, of course, this is not a music thing, but I'm just giving a little brief discussion of what's coming and the music. And when we get ready to go into the discussion of the blessing, problems come, all kind of problems. If a person haven't thought about it or learned nothing from it, it'll stay like it is and nothing will get better. They'll hurt their own self, being the things they don't like, don't desire, they have to go through. That's just what it is. So now the show tonight I'm hosting again. I gave brief detail with the music on and coming in, welcoming everyone tonight. The blessing. The blessing is about bringing life experiences people have of diversity in the communities of all types, and God has people in place to meet them and go to help with them things. And then what they can't, if it ain't possible for them to bring it or do it, then they have to go to God and be under His wings in place till He bring it over in prayer, and still get the treatments if it's meds, if it's counseling, if it's people working with them in all kind of ways. And also, you have people to fit pastors and everyone. It takes a lot to come that way, especially when some people have not been around people in a positive environment and upbringings, hurt, not ever seeing good in their houses, or never having what they need, lacks, or not ever knowing things like others in education, or even just presently a lot of things, abuse, domestic violence, all kind of things happening, or told they would never be non-verbally abused. And these things can affect in so much, and it takes God to deliver, set free, even done things that put them in prison. They don't make them bad. God can bring the bad out. Ain't nothing bad He can't do. He's able to do. He can use them too as well. So we're getting ready to discuss about tonight. We learn from our own experiences. We learn from other people's experiences in life, and then we learn from God, and then He'll bring what it is and how to deal. So I've had my own experiences. I grew up in a two-parent home. And I was married, but I was raised up in church. I had many things. I made it successful through the first through 8th grade, kindergarten, also through high school. And as later life came, I got tired of being in the same positions of things. I wanted to see better success and like others. And I know I've been raising God all my life, so I've stayed faithful in churches, whether it was good or bad. Same like in a natural relationship, if a person married or not, and God has brought me through. But it kept working toward what I needed to do, kept praying, kept staying faithful still in God. Now, committed to stay that way, and He's doing it with me to keep me this way. But I'm so grateful and thankful for all the oppositions and obstacles and problems and challenges and everything that life brings. Like David, I wasn't sure why I was in all that, and didn't know why, and was like begun to think, is life this way? Ooh, I don't like it. I was younger and all, but God has really truly blessed me to learn lessons and things. He had to come my way to bring me and prepare me for what I'm entitled doing now, in the title He given me in Him and in education. As they say, much is required, in the Word. Much is required in God. If you coming to be some, you got to go through some, and then it builds you, it prepares you, it equips you, it makes you wiser with Him, and it brings you in a broader path to do things greater in Him, and He's with you. Great is He that is in me and you than he that is in the world. So I've had my matters is basically, same as anybody in general, trying to live, survive. You want it better, but you couldn't jump in it right away. And learned it have to take steps and process and measurements in God to get to these places. And success, it don't come overnight. You have to go through things to get fit in God to come that way, and He blessed it. And I can definitely identify with many that knows what strugglings are, what hurt is, things you don't like to be in, or circumstances not comfortable with, or things you didn't like to happen is what it is. You can't change what comes in your life, but you can change in what you can do, even if you're in a circumstance, whatever it might be, in the circumstance you're going through, if it's a job, money, education, things that you want to get better in, but you're still living a way that you don't desire, want your lifestyle to be faithful in God and serve, and want to have a mate, want to, a little bit of everything, good and doing good, as we all know what good and success in God is. And of course, like I said, like Solomon, getting more than one woman and all. Sometimes we experience life like the prodigal son, where he went out to see what was out there, and he discovered it one day, and he ended up coming back home to his father. So some of us have those experiences as well, to think we believe is out there, what's good, and everything gonna be okay. We get this, we get a job, we get money, we get a friend, a boyfriend, or whatever it might be, and we don't, at the time you're doing all that, you don't know Christ, but you're doing the prodigal son thing, and I'll say the Solomon thing, having more than one person in your life to be with or meet with. It all comes down that Solomon found it was King Solomon found it was vanity. He kept using the word vanity and wasn't nothing, because he didn't have God, and that's what he wanted the most. And what he tried didn't do him good, he didn't make him happy, he still was missing and had a void. Some of us may have the same in our lives, voids that don't give comfortability when we think we got it with a person, or got it with how we dress, got it with a look, got it with our hair, got it with whatever it might be. But if God is in that person, it's going to be okay. If it's leaders, that's fine. They know who they are. They on the right path. Those working on the right path, going and continue to go, they go okay. They're in the right path. Those trying to come, or babes just come in any ministry, trying to know what they are, what they should do, what should be in their life, and what they will have from God. They got to keep walking it, waiting on it, listening to it, and until their time come, He on His timeline. So we all have an old nature, and even people in the Bible can be compared with us today. The Bible relates to people today, with many people, Bible characters in there that had fallings, shortcomings, many mistakes, and had to repent, as we are expected to do, because God knows what we made of. But He's definitely able to keep you, and things I can understand, but I know God have nothing but the best and success for you. And He already had it before you was even created in mind. You already have the gifts in you, even though you don't have to have you may not have a degree. Let's put it that way, and all that other stuff. But God got it. He's saying, if you'll walk a faith walk, wait on Him till He give you what you really supposed to have in Him in purpose. And then God will start releasing what is next He wants you to do, and bless it to be done. But you have to sit, you have to wait, you got long patience and suffering to get to that place. But once you do, you appreciate it greatly about what He did, and then be glad that you waited on Him, and it was worth the wait. So I like to say, we all have our flaws, and so I came in a situation where I went through many different things and didn't know, and I often set out to do good, raised up in a 2-parent home, siblings, all, and so on, having about between, my mother had, I think, 7 to 12 children. She was married 3 times. They all laid to rest natural now. God bless their souls and rest their souls. They served God, they knew God, and they taught God to us as their children. And there's 7 siblings now in my family, and the others are gone. But I'm grateful for how I was raised, how things they gave what they could. God gave me greater more, and I'm still standing and happy to know what He had in mind for me. If I hadn't pressed, waited, or sit, I wouldn't have never knew what God had for me. And so the same for us. Sometimes God can be asking people to invite you to church. It ain't just church, church is church. We the church, but you need to grow to know what He about, what church is about, why it exists, why do we exist, why did Christ exist. Once you do all them things, you'll come to realization of what He had in store if you wait. Don't look at what others feel, what others think, what you're doing. Keep your eyes on Him and keep your focus in doing right. And when you come to a time, so many years, God will let you know when it will release, when it's time for you to see a transition or something changing, or to give you knowledge on it, or besides that. And we have to stay positive in a mindset. You have to stay away from things that ain't going to help you be that state of mind in that way. Because the more you're around people ain't that way, they'll kind of pull you back, have your mindset so full of crammy mess, you won't be able to think clear or hear from Him if you're around that. So it's best when you're trying to change and work on you to come better in a transition. You got to stay in a positive mindset. Watch who you're running with. If they negative, don't. The Bible having Proverbs to choose the friends you know and run with. Just can't run with everybody. You got to have certain people that you know will be fitting to care about you, supporting you, and praying for you. And a friend won't leave because you ain't got nothing. They'll stay with you like Jesus do us. We go through things. Before we had anything, we walked with Jesus, and He stayed right there like He is with us. That's how friends should be, our mother, our father, all of that. And when you see people leaving out your life, backing up, watching to see what you do, and they ain't saying nothing, they want for you. They don't want to see you get better. I'll hold it right here. I need to take a pause.